It seems that the situation has been getting worse over the last 2 days. The exploration team's movements will be limited as a result. Who can I get to take this commission up? Gee, well, I guess it's gonna have to be me, since all the other adventurers have been busy. Oh, Traveler and Paimon, your timing is almost very coincidental. Coincidence? Sounds like we've got trouble on our hands again. For reasons unknown, some dark mud-like substance has come pouring out of the caverns and mines of the chasm lately. So Grimers, like from Pokemon. It's a very sudden affair, and the exploration team has yet to come up with any countermeasure, and so investigations there have started and stopped several times. As such, Kadive has asked the Adventurers Guild to send help. Dark mud stuff? Isn't that thing from beneath the chasm? She just... What? Shut... Whatever, Paimon. That's exactly the substance I speak of. I do not know why it has reached the caverns and mines, but either way, the exploration team's progress has been stymied. Stymied? Stymied? Whatever. And even their day-to-day movements have been affected. After all, they rely heavily on the mining tunnels for the transportation of goods and materials. For some time now, Kadive says that he's found a researcher from Sumeru who can help him out, but that researcher seems to need help themselves. I must admit that this has been troubling me ever since. Kadive probably pays pretty well. Has no one stepped forward? No, I'm afraid, mostly owing to the extreme danger that the dark mud poses, quite a few people actually came on account of the reward. But the moment they heard it was a chasm, they quickly declined. To make things trickier, most adventurers are not very familiar with the chasm's layout, so the one who accepts this commission will have to be someone with no fear of danger and who knows the chasm like the back of their hand. And just as I was puzzling over this matter, you two dropped by. So that's how it is. Things do seem quite serious. Yeah, let's go help Kadive out. Let's go now, shall we? About that, Kadive did say that you just have to look for that other researcher from Sumeru. Or to quote him, verbatim, if anyone's willing to help, tell them to just go to the campsite of Chasm. That guy will be there prepping just as usual. Whatever. Thank you. The chasm's safety is in your hands especially. I didn't think that the environment here would be so unique. In that case, the energy system of the hosseini's spike will... Traveler and Paimon, it's been a while. Why are the two of you here at the chasm? Actually, I do recall Kadive saying that you'd help the exploration team out a lot. That said, the situation in the chasm has been worsening. It's no place for a walk in the park. Oh, come on. Didn't we just meet a short while ago? I mean, I do always end up asking you for help, but that's no reason to pretend that you don't recognize me. Forget it. In that case, allow me to introduce myself once again. I am Hosseini, a researcher at the Academy. I've been working on a device known as the Energy Amplifier, and I even went to Inazuma to do some reference work there. However, I've run out of operating funds for my research, and so I have to return to Sumeru. Okay, Paimon thinks she remembers you now. You do? You're Amplifier Man. I'm quite sure that I've never introduced myself as such. Whatever the case, I received a request from a fellow researcher named Kadive. I owe him a favor regarding researching funds from way back, so I'm here at the chasm to help him solve this problem. Well, I hope that explanation is clear enough, in which case let me ask the question, why are you two here at the chasm? Because I have no choice. Ah, so that's you. And to think I was worried when Kadive mentioned that he was going to get some people to help out. Since it's you, I guess there's nothing to worry about. I must admit that if I were to attempt to resolve the dark mud issue here at the chasm myself, it would take a lot of time and energy. With your help, our odds are, well, higher. You've heard of the hosseini spike, right? A device that can release energy that disrupts the ley lines. According to my hypothesis, we can place the spike at points where the dark mud is pouring out to disrupt the ley line movements and clear it away. Is the dark mud even related to the ley lines? Well, they did appear based on anomalies in the ley lines, so it is very likely that they are related. That's what Godiva and I have discussed anyway. So we can use the spike to disrupt or even close the openings that allow the ley lines here to access external elements, which will stop the dark mud. Nice. However, we were previously just using the spikes to disrupt the ley lines. This is the first time I'm using the spikes to seal them. I've done some estimations and adjusted some of the spikes parameters. In theory, nothing should go wrong. But theory is, as you know, ultimately theory, and theories must all be tested. I was just saying at the beginning, the initialization process, in fact, but it has some risks. Yep, I'll go test it. I'll be your test dummy. Alright, I'll leave it to you. I'll observe from the sides. I will watch over you. Blah, blah, blah.
Here comes the catch. Rod's over. Rest and rebuild. Billowing surge. Time to go! Go! Allow me! Things are about to get dicey. Go! This isn't good. Let's move out. Rest and rebuild. Higher, hands on fire!
Didn't you say that theoretically there wouldn't be any problems? Ah, is that how it is? To think that I did not factor the ground into my calculations. What an error. Factor the ground into your calculations? That's right, our previous experiments all took place on softer soil. But within the chasm, the medium through which the spike's energy travels is not soil, but rock, which has very different properties. It's caused a major discrepancy between the earlier calculations and the actual results. The theory is not a mere matter of imagination, instead it must be grounded and proven in reality. This proving process seems kind of dangerous, though. Also, why did so much mud come out all at once? This place is quite far from a mining complex, so the mud really shouldn't be flowing all the way here. This situation must be more urgent than we imagined. Also, the Persina spike has a definite effect on environments affected by the dark mud. This shows that the mud's proliferation is, as I guessed, an issue that stems from the ley lines. This proves the need for experimentation and proof, does it not? Of course, if I had done the experiment myself, I would have wound up being attacked by the monsters. Not that I worry about being injured, that would be a small loss compared to any damage that might be done to the Persina spike. How would I answer to our great tutor, Farinus, or my fellow researchers in the Kisharar? Pay more attention to your experiments. True, the data we've collected can be used to adjust the results of our calculations. Now, the solutions to these interfering parameters, I believe there are 4 such methods, though there should be only one that will prove most effective. Thank you so much for helping me with this test run. Traveler, I will make some adjustments to the Persina spike. Later, it can be moved to the mining complex, where operations can then begin. Alright, yeah, you have fun doing that. Well, no, I had agreed with Gadot to hire some of the local miners here to move it, but when they heard that my objective was to resolve the issue of the dark mud, they refused any payment. I've spoken to Gadai the Munning from the Ministry of Civil Affairs. However, the Mora will still go to them as compensation. Of course, I'll need you to help start the machine up once it reaches its destination. You're here. Yep, we're here to help. I was just checking the Persina's spike. I must say that Leeway's miners are made of stern stuff. Just 2 of them were enough to transport the spike here. But since the spike has some very fine moving parts, you need to check if it has been affected while in transit. In theory, though, everything should be fine. That's what you said the last time too, and you nearly got Paimon and Traveler into deep trouble. Well, I did also say that there is a difference between theory and reality. However, I made sure to check everything before you came. Everything has been prepared and once initialized, and in operation the spike will not need any initial elemental energy input to maintain its charging state. Yes, before I had to adapt it to Inazuma's environment, and so I modified it such that it could only charge and operate through the use of Electro. However, that is not the original operating mode of the Persina's spike. Originally, it was intended to function in this sort of environment. In fact, this dark mud is its power source. That's right, and that's why the spike is perfectly suited to solving this issue. You consider it this dark mud issue we're having in the chasm has both symptom and source, both of which must be resolved. Of these, the sources. Exactly as such. We must nip the problem in the bud by sealing the openings in the ley lines through which the dark mud is spewing out. Of course, the sealing of the ley lines will not completely solve the problem of the dark mud that has already come out. However, the Persina spike has the ability to absorb the energy within the dark mud and decrease its power as a contaminant. This is what we call fixing the symptoms. This way, the dark mud that has already reached the surface will serve as a power source of the Persina spike, and as the spike continues operation, it will close the ley lines from which the mud is spewing forth. As for those monsters who have been affected by mud due to long-term exposure, they will lose the enhancements they get from it and be weakened. Ooh, that's 3 birds with 1 stone. You know what? This Percy Spiky is better than Paimon thought. It's a Persina spike. Persina's brilliance truly is such that one might also believe that the spike was specifically made to solve problems such as these. If that guess of mine is true, then this whole process of solving the dark mud problem could serve as valuable experimental data in the future. Who knows, this research might even allow me to discover some hitherto unknown principles behind how Persina could affect the ley lines using certain devices. This subject has great value, honestly. If I could win the Academia's Kavukuvis prize with this, that would be wonderful. What the heck is that? This is a prize that the Academia gives out specially to young researchers. Every year, the sages will go over the research reports sent in and cast votes to select the winner. The criteria for winning are that subject must be groundbreaking, creative, and that the person sending the report must have great potential and be under 40 years of age. All those who have won the Kavas prize while under the age of 40 would go on to win great renown in the Academia. That sounds awesome. Well, let's start the spike up right now. Let's hope it solves our problem. That said, please take note, Traveler, that while the Persina spike is a very impressive piece of equipment, it is also quite intricate and fragile. If it is hit while operating, or if it is submerged by dark mud, which can cause fouling, the spike will turn off automatically to prevent any further damage. As such, please be aware of the mud and of monsters while you operate the device. The effects are better than I thought. We've recorded all the phenomena we've seen and the data we've collected. And most importantly, the dark mud was completely cleared. It's just that, Why do you look so unhappy? Is it a bad thing that the mining complex is all clean? Let me think. Well, when Kadiv and I analyzed the situation previously, we believed that the opening in the ley lines through which the dark mud came should be here. I don't think that such an opening would have been this easy to clear out, so the true entry point must be elsewhere. And in this case, the affected areas also include... Exactly, this means that the point through which the dark mud is flowing in is in the tunnels. Such areas will be far more narrow, allowing for greater buildup of the mud, and making it easier for monsters to swarm in, thus worsening our problems. Still, I have full faith in the Persina's spike. It is, after all, Persina's great creation. Just let me do a bit of maintenance work on it first. I'll call the miners who have agreed to move the spike into the tunnels over.